What is up, guys? We're back for another review. Today we will be doing Drive by Daniel H. Pink, right? I've got another book of his that I'll be reviewing. To Sell is Human. Read this a couple years ago, so I need to reread that and then we'll get it out to you guys. But let's talk about Drive. So Drive. This guy is talking basically about how motivation has changed over the centuries even. So he brings us to, there's like three motivations for him. He says motivation 1.0, 2.0 and 3.0. Okay, 1.0 was food and sex. It was basically what we were doing to survive as a species. Then we hit this industrial revolution, we start working, there's businesses starts popping up and people need to get motivated, and that motivation 2.0 was like carrots and sticks, right? Money and punishments to motivate people to be more productive. And now in this new economy that we're working in, he's like, what motivates us now, given that carrots and sticks aren't the best motivators anymore, right? You're not going to increase productivity that much more by paying people a lot more money or anything like that. It can work in the short term, but in the long term it's not sustainable, right? So what is sustainable motivation? And that's kind of what he could have actually said in this book. The title or subtitle could have been Sustainable Motivation or something like that. And his motivation 3.0 basically rests on three pillars, right? There is autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So he says when you provide people with these three things, they're much more motivated to do well and be productive and stay and be loyal and things, right? So you can look at it from kind of like a business person's perspective. If you own a business, how do you drive your employees? How do you motivate them? How do you get them to do shit that maybe they don't want to be doing, right? Or even if they do want to be doing it, how do you get it to get done even better, right? And then if you're an employee, what can you be doing in your work to kind of become more motivated? Because maybe you might be lacking motivation. So let's take a look at autonomy. He was mentioning people like FedEx and Google, companies like that, where they allow like 20% of the employees' time can be used for anything that they kind of want to do. Some organizations do this where they allow 20% time for anything. Others do it where they say, well, it's 20% anything, but it has to be in the context of this business or within your project. So maybe if you're a developer or something, 20% of the time you don't need to be doing the work that's related to your project, but you have to be fixing your own code or something like that. And he brings out how like Gmail and a bunch of companies like Atlassian have really created products that people now use, and that came out of that 20% time. So that autonomy, right? The freedom to kind of do what you want. Or you can also look at it as like freedom to be not as restricted to the responsibilities that you currently have in your role, okay? So think about that in terms of how you would motivate yourself. How would you get more autonomy for yourself? Maybe you want more flexible hours, maybe you want different work hours, maybe you want to work from home sometimes, try it out, see how it goes, and if it's working for you, continue it. If it's not, stop it and figure something else out, try something else out, right? So that's autonomy. Then we have mastery, okay? So there's a book from Mihail Csikszentmihalyi called Flow. I'll do a review on that. I also read that a couple years ago. I have to reread it. That's also about like having a challenge that's difficult enough to keep you interested, but not so difficult that you kind of give up, right? So this mastery is also something like that, where you have to think about what you're doing, and if it's challenging enough and it's something that you want to be doing so that you can get better and better at it, right? So it basically mustn't be a brain dead task where you can figure it out very quickly, because in the process of figuring it out, you'll be motivated to figure it out, but once it's figured out, there isn't this next level of figuring something out or getting better at it, right? So you have to look at what you can master in your skills, right? If you're an employer, what skills can you ask of your employees to master, to get better at, that they want to also get better at? And then if you're an employee, what skills can you begin to learn to master, and what would you like to master, right? So you guys can have that discussion between yourselves and figure that out. The last thing is purpose. So this was a bit like, this was the least grounded in evidence, right? So this book is really great, by the way, for like your footnotes and things, when Daniel mentions something, he doesn't just say, well, you can increase productivity by doing this, and it's kind of intuitive and you can agree with it, but he'll actually give you like scientific case studies and behavioral economists who created these studies and links to those so that you can actually check them out for yourself. Another really cool behavioral economist is Dan Ariely. So I'll do a couple book reviews of his. I've read all his books actually. I really like him. And Yuri Gnevy, okay, he's also cool. They've done books with Dan Ariely as well. But back to the point of purpose, this is the least grounded in science, right? This is kind of like purpose you kind of have to come up with on your own, okay? You have to find your purpose for what you want to be doing and why you're doing it, right? Maybe you speak to your employer and say, what's my role in this organization? What benefit do I bring to it? And you can try to find your benefit, right? Or if you're an employer, you can speak to your employees to show them how they fit into the bigger picture, how they can actually be expanding their purpose within your organization and things like that. And guys, it's okay if you don't have purpose right now, first. Second, if you feel like you should have purpose and you don't have it, it's also a good thing, because then you're like, oh shit, where I'm currently at doesn't provide the purpose that I want. And purpose is a strong motivator. So I need to get into a place where I do find more purpose. Doesn't need to be at your work, okay? You can just work, continue doing as you do, but then outside of work, you can find something that provides more purpose to you, right? So that's something to look into. So autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Those are the three kind of big motivation 3.0 drive conclusions or pillars that he brings into this book. It's worth a read. It's super quick as well. What is this like? 200 and something pages. This is like 5-6 hours you bust this out. I will say Malcolm Gladwell did a review on this, and he said he spent as much time, or he spent more time thinking about what this book means than actually how long it took to read it, okay? And that's something that's important. You should read this book, but then also be like, okay, given what he said here, how can I apply it? Really be analytical about it and be self-aware, okay? So spend a lot of time not just reading this book, thinking about what this guy's saying. It's a good book. It's worth a read. Definitely check it out. If you don't need a paperback, check it on Kindle, check it on Audible. Check the interviews that this guy's done discussing this book, okay? Very cool things coming out of this. So definitely worth your guys' time. Check it out. I'll leave some links in the description below, and also some videos you guys should check out. And yeah, guys, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, get this out there, get people to read, okay? It's a big, very important thing that you need to be doing if you want to be succeeding in life, okay? It doesn't need to be in your career. You can be succeeding with your relationships, with a lot of things. Reading can help calm you down. It can help you take to another place, another world if you read fiction, right? Very important skill to have. And when you read, it's actually really good because it benefits other things in your life. It increases your vocabulary. It increases how you communicate, the efficiency of your communication. And so it's a really great kind of goal to have. Just read. You don't need to read a book a week, okay? It's kind of difficult. You can do it every 2 weeks. You can do it once a month, okay? Start with that. One book, 1 month, okay? 12 books a year is better than no books a year. So get on it. And I'll see you guys next time.